Hey everybody, bienvenidos. It's been a while since I've been online. Jillian and I were on an amazing round the world adventure, some incredible content coming on that. More along the lines about, is Mexico gonna be our final destination? We visited some amazing places that I'm telling you are competing with Mexico right now, but that is for another video. I had the opportunity just before we went on vacation to meet with Brighton from Almost Retired in Mexico and gave him a tour of our home. So I'm gonna let you guys in to what is our dream home here in Mexico. Always had the dream of building a family compound or complex that could house all of us, including my in-laws here in Bucerias, Mexico. And that dream came true a few years ago, and I would like to invite all of you in to check it out for yourself. Also in the description and the pinned comments will be a link to the full video and the interview that Brighton did with me back before we left. So check out the tour. Bienvenidos a mi casa. Mi casa es su casa. I hope you enjoyed the tour. Interested to hear your comments below. What do you think? Do you have a dream of building in Mexico? And if yes, where is that dream going to be built? I'd like to see that in the comments. Enjoy, guys. So, well, one thing, all of our projects have a door like this. We call it the Maravilla door. So it's usually blue, sometimes it's white. There's a house, I just built that house for these guys, but they have the Maravilla door, but it's white. Cool. Just some green as soon as you walk into our home. We have two entrances, so one off Cinco de Mayo here, and one off the front street is where our garage is. This has already grown quite nicely. Give it another 5 or 6 more years, it'll be like a little jungle. We have my in-laws, Bob and Lynn, but we won't bother them, but they'll give a little wave. But they have a beautiful little one bedroom. One bathroom with a nice kitchen. And how do you guys like living here? Even with me? Yeah, that's a struggle. No, it's all good. We wanted to have like no maintenance because we got animals. We got 4 cats, 2 dogs. So if this was like grass, they're gonna chew it up. If there's like anything like with plants, they're gonna pee all over it. So we didn't want our courtyard to smell like a cat litter box or dog bathroom. So everything is in planters, and we put stones in the planters to keep the cats out. And it really is old style. Think of an old Mexican hacienda. It's based on that type of design, but we've modernized it. So instead of like big arches and that, we have more straight lines. But you have the kitchen, living room on that end. This maybe would have been a bedroom, but now it's an apartment. We did like a full bath there for guests. Little outdoor area we use quite a bit in the cooler season. We did that little brick wall to give a little bit more character. And yeah, floor to ceiling glass. And especially in the evenings, we'll open this up, and like this time of year is like awesome. I don't know how it is where you live right now, but
it's pretty awesome right now.
It's like perfect weather, so we rarely use the AC. I have it on now just so that you and I were a little bit more comfortable. But I like to cook a lot, so I know, but kitchen was important, so we got, nice fridge, good stove, got lots of workspace for my prepping and whatnot. So we spend a lot of time here. We don't eat out a lot, which is kind of funny. The longer we've lived in Mexico, we have our favorite restaurants, but literally we're pretty well cooking almost every day. We eat out once a week at most, or we order some takeout. But we wanted this to be like our space, like it's almost, this is where we live, except when we're sleeping. So we're watching Netflix here. Julie and I made our little office space. And this is where all the ideas happen. And I have this atrium space here that's still a work in progress, but I've got my gardener working on some ideas so that this whole wall is going to become green, and we're just like filling it up. Because I didn't want to have exposure to the front street. I didn't want any windows, nothing here. So we're just like straight on wall. So I said, well, instead of having all this as like kind of useless living space, I'll just make that an atrium. And it just adds in a little bit of light. And in the rainy season, it's nice because it kind of rains in here and we're working away. And yeah, that's the living space. Wine fridge is very important for us. I could take you upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, originally with the bike business, we thought our kids were going to take it over, but they decided to opt out of that option. So we built this house in mind with, that's, I could actually take you through this. Jillian's having a little nap in this bedroom, but we can go through here. But this is my daughter's apartment. So if my parents only gave me an apartment like this when I was 23 years old, but she's probably got one of the nicest.
Wow.
She's got one of the nicest views.
Cool.
Yeah. She's got a little kitchen. She doesn't cook in here, but it's nice and But I also built this in mind with one day we'll move from here, and I wanted rentals. So this will become a rental. Another little cool feature we designed in it was, because we're working with generally speaking, pretty tight space. We always like to create some outdoor living area. You can feel how bright it is in here, right? And even this, normally in Mexico you build right to the property line because you want to get as much square footage as you can. But what we did in both those units is we just brought the wall in a little bit and we created again another atrium. So see the downstairs unit, they got all this plants there, whether the bedroom and just lets in. But also I wanted something in the future, if this is a rental, someone's gonna show up to this rental and be like, this is super comfortable and I'm enjoying it here, right? Views and, hey Chicky? But that view is,
that's pretty amazing.
That's pretty amazing. I'll send you a drone shot too.
Yes.
So that's got its own bath. There's a second bedroom there, but my wife is having a little nap.
That's okay.
And but this is the guest bathroom. And here we wanted to keep open. We could have glassed it over, but we really wanted to have more of an outdoor feel up here. The only problem was in the rainy season, this frickin' bridge would get flooded. We'd have water going into all the bedrooms, and we're out here with squeegees. And then so we installed this, and believe it or not, that takes care of 95% of the rain from the winds, and then we just have a little bit of water that we have to deal with. And that's the other thing in Mexico, the rain. I don't know what it is, but it's just much more different than in Canada or the States. It's just...
Yeah, even in La Paz, it's dry, but when it rains, it rains.
Yeah, in our master bedroom, we wanted it to be a space we could hang out, and then eventually, again, if it becomes a rental, I wanted this to be a unit that I could modify, maybe add a little kitchen, but enough space in here that someone could rent this out and it'd be super comfortable. We did windows on both sides, so you got airflow, and then the killer is the view off the balcony. I have a roof, and I have the bathroom and the roof, and that's kind of, we like to work with concrete, so all the floors are concrete, the walls are concrete. We made our sinks, handmade sinks. That's another cool thing, these are the things you can actually do in Mexico that would cost you a freaking fortune, back home, because no one knows how to, do the stuff. But again, you gotta kind of taper your expectations that this is there's nothing straight here, but that's the look we're kind of going for. So it's imperfect perfection. We have roof space, so we're gonna make use of it for solar because, as you know, if you use air conditioner in Mexico, your electrical bill can get quite high. So this keeps our bill low. We kind of put enough into the grid when we're not using it that The bill is as close to zero as it's going to get, but eventually we can add another floor of space here. So we kind of envision maybe 2 more apartments sometime in the future, and then we would just move the solar panels up above that. But you know, this would be a beautiful apartment with a pretty incredible view.
So I'm guessing you agree that this is just a gorgeous place, and this is actually built into a development. This is kind of an L-shaped house or a series of houses that is built around a development. So let's hear a little bit about the building that's right next door.
Well, the project's called Hacienda Cinco de Mayo, and so there's 9 condos. Basically, there's 9 condos in my house, okay? And in my house, there's 2 apartments plus my living area, but we're all part of the same development. But my house is like 1 condo, and then next door there's 9 apartments, which represent actually 4 condos. And I know that might sound a little complicated, but on 2 floors it's like one condo, even though they have 3 apartments. And then on the top floor there's 2 apartments as 1 condo and 1 apartment that's on its own.
So that is really an interesting thing. So it's divide up into condos so that they can be sold, but then those are divided into apartments. So I want to hear just a little bit about that.
So the municipality gave us approval for 5 units. Okay, so 5 titled units. So my house is 1 titled unit. Okay, even though I have, let's call it 3 apartments in my little compound here, and then next door, basically every floor is 1 unit, but there's 3 apartments on every floor. The only exception is the top floor, because we had 1 extra unit available as an approval, not extra space, but just an extra unit that could be subdivided. So we made 1 condo 2 units, and then 1 condo is just a studio. But it was a great way for people to actually basically buy a whole floor, have 3 units for literally, instead of buying a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, they bought 3 condos.
So that is a great unexpected way to invest in property in Mexico, is to buy a condo that's broken up like that. I'm not sure if that is anything that's common at all, but it is an interesting thing. And as you get involved in searching for investments in Mexico, I think more different ways of doing things are going to pop up for you. So let's wrap up the video with Joel's #1 tip for you if you are moving to Mexico and thinking about investing in Mexico, or you're living in Mexico thinking about investing or investing more.